guys, Nary here from Drake Wing Gamers. Some of you know me on Twitter, the Gaming Dragon. Today I'm coming back at you with another Let's Play episode of Far Beyond the World. So guys, let's go ahead and jump right back into it. Please sit back and enjoy for the next 18 minutes of entertaining, and let's jump right in. Alarm chain, you are up, and let's go. Okay, I am to my own kind. To you, I am woven folk. That can't be right. I narrow my brow in confusion. What's the singular form of folk? Fellow? I snort in amusement, and he looks at me with a puzzled expression. Wolffellow sounds ridiculous. I think I'll stick to Wolfkin. How about you stick to just Rannoch? He teases me and finally takes up his mug. Excuse me, seeing his smile waver again, it becomes clear I need to be more discreet, more direct. Oh, excuse me. What did your father want, if you don't mind me asking? Not at all. He shakes his head. He told me about the things we need to secure from Strandbard. Steel, potions, salves, along with provisions. What sort of provisions? Foodstuffs, non-perishables. He sighs, taking a deep gulp of ale. As you've heard, we had a few harsh winters in a row. Our stockpiles are running low. You don't seem to be doing that bad, considering the buckling tables at the feasts. It's not like that. We have the food, but if there's a war coming, we might need grain. Something we don't grow in large quantities. Seems straightforward, then. I mused, looking at him intently. His expression isn't changing even one bit. Was there anything else you've discussed? No, that was pretty much it. He shrugs and I sigh heavily. He's not going to tell me unless I force him to. Then, why the long face? You seemed fine at the feast and now, not so much. I was happy to see you, he states plainly, drilling his sad green eyes into me. And you've taken me by surprise, for a moment. The wolf chuckles, rubbing his forehead as if he were scolding himself. For a brief moment I forgot everything that happened. You mean the battle? Yeah. His voice is completely devoid of any humor, and I swallow heavily. What Regera described sounded horrible. I haven't seen half of what she has seen, yet still... He struggles to speak, clenching his eyes and teeth. I get up to my feet and walk towards him, placing a hand on his shoulder. Do you want to talk about it? I do not know. I can feel him contract, almost as if he cringed at the sheer idea of opening up. At the feast, despite of what sounded pretty messed up and cruel, they kept their mask of levity. I mean, they are a society of warriors. I suppose appearing soft is scoffed at. Shh, it's okay. I mutter as he shudders. I mutter as he shudders. Utters as he mutters. We don't have to talk about it, if you'd rather not. I just know that I'm here for you. At first, he seems to continue to shut me off, but after just a moment of silence, he turns to me reluctantly and sighs. I wouldn't even know where to start. You can start in your own time, at your own pace. I try to sound reassuring, ruffling his shoulder fluff. You can start by telling me in your own words what really happened out there. No crowds to appease or elders to impress. Just you and me. I smile, looking into his worried eyes with love and care. At first he smiles back, but then the wolf takes a deep breath and gets up to his feet in a sluggish fashion. I watch as he walks over to the cupboard and retrieves the flagon of moonshine. Moonshine. Sorry guys, it's really early. It's not really early. I just got up though. I'm still waking up. His fangs grip at the cork, and he unplugs the bottle on his way back to the table. I want to fetch him a clean cup, but the wolf simply sits heavily into the chair and just empties his remaining ale in one go. Once done, Rannoch pours himself some Everclear, only to bob the bottle inquisitively in my direction. No, thanks. I'm fine. I mutter, to which he only shrugs and downs the contents in one thirsty gulp. The wolf takes a deep breath and lowers his head, blocking his tired gaze on the floor. I can feel his body tensing. When I arrived there, I heard screaming. No, not screaming. Battle cries drowned out only by the ringing of steel. Once I finally cleared the ridge obscuring my view, I couldn't understand what was happening. My sister pack was beset by wolves I've never seen in my life. Our kin. And they were enraged. He shakes his head, looking at me with deep sadness in his eyes. This was no ordinary battle. I could see that my friends were worn down, and the enemy was frothing at the mouth, almost like wild beasts eager to score a kill. It took me a moment to take it all in. That's when two of the nearest wolves noticed me. They disengaged and looked at me as confused as I looked at them, but all of it melted away, replaced by hateful snarls. Everything went quiet as I stood frozen, seeing them rush in my direction. He pauses, and I take a deep breath as if he felt ashamed. I feared death. Not death itself, actually, but I feared for my unfinished business with those I left behind should I fall. I fear what would happen to you should I not return. In a split second, I realized that this wasn't only about them and me. I was there to make sure I get my friends safely home so that I can get back to you. Again, his green eyes lock with mine, and I take hold of his paw, squeezing it tightly. It was 2 lives against the many, and that thought allowed my instincts to take over. The first one thought he was fast enough to lunge at me. He wasn't. He chuckles nervously, trying to hide how unsettled he really is. I smile back at him softly. I parried, and before he even realized, his head was already sliding off his shoulders, and the whites of his hateful eyes trembling in shock as it dawned on him that he was done. The second wolf hesitated, seeing his friend decapitated with a single blow. It allowed me to rush him and push my blade right through his chest. Again, I looked into the enemy's eyes. I don't think he expected to die. The disbelief taking over his muzzle startled me, so I thrust deeper to ensure he did. I swallowed heavily, still squeezing his hand in support. He gurgled blood, spitting some on me, and finally his legs went soft. I didn't know why, but I grabbed him so close that he wouldn't fall. I laid him gently onto the ground and shared his final moments. He took 2 more rattled breaths with his paw shaking in final tremors. I grabbed it and held it firmly, almost as if to give him courage to slip into the eternal dark. Because you're a good wolf. No one deserves to die alone. Interject, lifting up his chin and making his glossy eyes meet with mine. Maybe. Or maybe I did it to avoid feeling guilt. He shrugs, rubbing his eyes and looking away towards the window. In any case, that's when Rhaegarra's rallying cry pulled me out of my stupor. The sound of battle raging all around me returned and I got back to my feet. After that, everything was a blur. My mind was racing and everything happened so fast. But by the end, all but 3 of the strangers were dead. He reaches out for the flagon and pours himself another generous portion of moonshine. At first, I want to protest and ask him to go slower at it, but quickly realized it wouldn't be fair, not after what he told me. So I let him down the cup hole, and instead of preaching at him, I simply listened. It takes him a moment or two to compose himself, but soon enough, he continues. Rhaegarra wanted to pursue, and I think we would have. We would have hunted those wolves as if they were feral rabbits. He sneers, baring his fangs in clear anger. When a heart pumps blood as hard as mine did, you don't think, you just do. Of course. I nod. You did what had to be done. You did what had to be done. Had to. His surprised gaze meets with mine, and I'm taken aback. Did I accidentally make another slip of a tongue? We didn't have to do anything. Had those wolves not been there. In fact, even if they trespassed, there was no need for any of this. They wanted Rhaegarra dead. Her and her entire pack. Why? I don't know. I mutter in a saddened tone. I can see this is tearing at him. How did it come to this? What makes one so cruel towards a complete stranger? To wish him dead, by your own pauses nonetheless. His heavy voice makes my heart sink, and I feel slightly choked up. I let a moment of silence overtake us as I absorb all he has said. Do you remember the tiger noble we talked about? Please. He mutes pleadingly, and I look at him with worry. You want to rub that in my face now? I understand you're hurting. I respond softly, but still conveying slight offense in my tone. Do you think I would have brought it up just to have another jab at you? The music is beautiful. I just want to make a point to help you wrap your head around this crazy situation. The wolf looks to me with worry, but eventually nods in resignation, allowing me to continue. Your people executed that tiger, not because they hated him or because the tiger was evil. Your people did it because they believed he had done something unforgivable. When people believe things strongly, they can sometimes take that belief too far. He listens carefully, although his entire posture is getting more deflated. Now, I don't know what those wolves from up north believe, but they believe it's strong enough to put swords in their paws and march right into your territory. They believe killing you was the right thing to do. I might not know where I come from, but I know this. Bullies never stop. And from what I've heard at the feast, those wolves will continue believing they have a right to harass and attack you unless proven otherwise. You had no choice. It was you or them. I finally draws attention and muster a loving smile to encourage the defeated wolf. And I, for one, am glad it was them. I killed 2 people, he mutters in protest. I know what you think. They were wolves, that's why it bothers me. He sounds accusatory, throwing his hurt gaze to the side. Wolves or not, I don't care. Be they rabbits or humans or even damn tigers, it doesn't matter to me. What matters is that I took 2 lives. It's not what I think at all. I know that you're not like that. He looks to me with glossy eyes, barely containing the tears. One moment they were there, and the next, they weren't. They sent 2 beings into the eternal dark. You were defending your friends, I reply almost automatically. I've never killed anyone. I never killed before. In the heat of battle, I wasn't thinking about it, but once it was all done, once I saw the dead bodies on the ground, He shivers slightly and two drops finally trail down his cheeks. Not knowing what to say, I embrace him tightly, allowing him to simply let his emotions flow. For a while, nothing happens, but as time passes, the tremors rocking his body intensify, and finally, his heavy breathing breaks into subdued weep. They're just kids, all of them. Despite their tough-looking exterior, they're really just kids, like me or any other people living normal lives. They might have spent their childhoods playing with weapons and training to fight, but at the end of the day, wielding them in actual combat is another thing entirely. I can't say I know how you feel, I mutter softly, but loud enough so he could hear me over his own sobbing. I can't really imagine it. It must be a horrible burden to carry at such a young age. But just because you killed someone, it doesn't make you a killer. Wait, what? I try to reassert it, contradicting the fear that clearly has taken hold of him. Seeing that you have such an adverse reaction proves beyond a shadow of a doubt the opposite. His rattled breath begins to subside as he tries to listen to what I say. Your friends were fighting for their lives. It was a matter of choosing between them or strangers who wished them harm. It's a choice most of us would make without a second thought, to protect others regardless of personal cost. In fact, it's a choice you've made in this very house. I nod towards the bedroom door. Right there. When your father wanted to execute me. You were almost naked, yet you showed such ferocity that it took 2 armed guards to restrain you. You're very protective of those around you. It's a good thing. I try to sound encouraging, rubbing his cheek fluff with moisture as he locks his shaky gaze with me. It means you're willing to go to great lengths to keep your loved ones safe. I hope that when the time comes and my own resolve is tested, I do the same. He takes a deep sigh and, without a word, pulls me into a deep kiss. Oh. Yee! It happened! His warm tongue slips between my trembling lips, and I seize up, feathering out of my fingers in surprise, and suddenly everything goes silent. No crickets outside, no rustle of leaves, nor crackling of fire. Just our anxious heartbeats resonating in the nothingness. He steals my breath and gives it back again. At first, I dare not to move, closing my eyes and allowing him to overpower me. My senses abandon me, and I cling to him as the only certain thing in this suddenly dizzy world. Wolf gently lowers us onto the floor as he explores my mouth uncontested. His tongue wriggles and pushes at mine, trying to get me to engage, and before I know it, I am kissing him back. As his paws roam freely across my body, brushing my chest, my groin, cupping my butt, our tongues join in a passionate dance. I can taste the burning Everclear, and my breath speeds up, seeing how he towers above me. I feel his entire muscular form press against mine, and finally he slides his right paw underneath the dress. I gasp in excitement, unable to believe that this is really happening. Oh my. Oh my. The kiss breaks, but just for a moment so that both of us can catch a breath. Our eyes meet, equal in their disbelief. He's trembling, clearly not expecting his desire to take over so suddenly. I reach up to ruffle his cheek fluff and give him courage. I don't want him to back down or falter. Wolf leans into my open palm, and I exhale in anticipation. Oh my! Oh, hello, thumbnail material. Just as love-stricken as I am, his pupils gleaming with utter devotion. We're both lost in the mirrors of our souls, simply taking in the other for all they're worth. It feels like an eternity gazing into his loveful gaze. But before I know it, the wolf quickly dives back towards me. He's kissing me deeper, harder. He's doing it with an urgent need I've never felt before, and I want it too. I want to sink into his fur, for him to squash me against the wooden floor. So I grab his shoulder and pull, letting him know it's okay. Dude, he's gonna split you in half with that thing. And then they ended the podcast. He allows his weight to rest against me, and I gasp, his tongue still coiling deep inside my mouth. I can feel his throbbing erection pressed against mine, and I feel out of breath, almost as if I ran a marathon. He groans softly, his low voice reverberating down into my throat once he issues a muffled growl of excitement. I'm already gone. I begin hastily undoing my buckle, and he aids me in pulling the dress off me. We throw each bit in piece carefully around us, and he picks me up into his arms and leads us to the bedroom threshold as if I were a bride. Yeah. He plops me playfully onto the bed, and I splay myself seductively. I watch him patiently, biting my lips as he undoes his pants and drops them hastily to the floor. The bed moans as he rushes onto it, again covering me entirely with his massive furry body. I look as he hovers above me, smiling in satisfaction like a hunter who has finally cornered his prey. I reach out to his muzzle and pull him into another passionate kiss while my hands reach down to his loincloth. Oh my. Yep. Yeah, I had a feeling I was gonna have to edit some stuff today, so yeah. And do the folds and let it fall freely, allowing the wolf to now press against me with his wolf. Oh my! Slippery. Yeah, that thing, it comes out and, you know, it hits you on the thigh like a Sharpie. It literally says, like a Sharpie. I shudder, gasping for air and ecstasy, inviting him to dive inside my mouth with his tongue again. I'm not sure my body can take much more. I feel things I wasn't aware I am capable of feeling. Oh, good lord. That is going to hurt. And so does he, judging by the size of the popsicle that he has brought in from the fridge. Although alien and a little bit scary, it's also oh so exciting because it is a new popsicle that you've never had in your mouth before. I finally see him whole, just as Aluna made him, and I accept him as he is. I feel on fire, and the only thing that can put out this lustful blaze is complete surrender to our joint desires. But as I undo my own underwear, displaying myself completely exposed, the expression on the wolf suddenly shifts. As if he saw something for the first time, and he's pulling away. What happened? I ask in confusion, propping myself up on my elbows. I can't. He rasped in a low, trembling voice. I can see his body shivering, and I'm not sure what exactly went wrong. I mean, I can, but if we do this, I can't promise I'll be able to control myself. He admits, uncomfortably, laying his ears low and looking embarrassed to the side. What? I want to claim you. I desperately need to make you mine. And that's why I know I can lose myself in the process. Wolf exhales in a long, anxious breath, and I smile. I don't mind you getting a bit rough. You're a wolf after all, I say, finding myself sounding slightly more excited at the prospect than appropriate. I place my hand on his paw, trying to give him some encouragement, but he closes his eyes. Seeing our size difference, I think we should take things slow. Now, okay. Real slow. Not like this. Not in the heat of the moment. I wouldn't forgive myself if I hurt you. He reiterates, and I sigh. I consider it to a fault. With my own emotions simmering down a bit, I can see his point. He's not wrong, no matter how frustrating this turned out to be. Seeing his exposed and erect wolfhood, I have to wonder how he would even manage. I chuckle, shaking my head and giving him an awkward snoot hug. He rubs his cheek against mine and plants a few soft licks here and there. I look into his green eyes with love and understanding and simply kisses him with his slippery nose. This did go fast from 0 to 100 and back to 0 again. That's to be expected. Also, I don't want our first time to be associated with... He pauses, looking away in shame. With what we talked about. Oh, of course! Damn, how bad would that be? I don't think either of us is in the right headspace. I try to laugh it off, but it's clear my emotions are still all over the place. So are his, to be fair. He just came back from battle, confessing his worries about killing others, and the house was just raided on top of that. Fuck! I exhale in frustration. We really are two horny dummies. We really are two honey dormies. What? Two horny dummies. Well, at least I am. You show some more restraint. I'm sorry. The wolf mumbles in an embarrassed tone, and I quickly shake my head. No, don't be. In truth, I'm the one who's sorry. You didn't do anything, and you didn't do anything I didn't wish for. I know. I'm still very much defeated. That is why this is unfair on you. I'll take your unfairness any day over dozens of eager and inconsiderate wolves. I state, and he teasingly raises his brow at me. Wolves. Males. I roll my eyes and we both laugh. He leans his head into me and sighs in relief. Thank you for understanding. No problem, Bob. I wink and he chuckles again. Who's Bob? It's just a dumb expression. I shake my head and the wolf shares in my amusement. He reaches to my face, brushing my fringe away with his paw, to then gently pat my cheek. You really mean the world to me, Moondrop. You keep calling me that. Is that to be my new pup name? I laugh teasingly. That's just what you are to me. A drop of moonlight in my life. I smile at those words, completely taken aback. I never want to hurt you, physically or otherwise. I know, it's fine. I lean into his paw and place a kiss on his middle bean. I wouldn't have it any other way. With our excitement subsiding and the torrent of thoughts calming down, I simply reach out to him and rub his cheek. It's been a fucked up 2 weeks. Alright, I'm gonna pause it right here. I was waiting for him to get his sheath off the screen. Anyway, guys, I've got a little bit of editing to do before this one goes up. Thank you all so much for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, ring that notification bell. Leave a super thanks or tip if you can. It always helps. Until the next video, I love you all. I'll see you next time. Bye-bye!